So hello, everybody. And you are watching The Political Vigilante, and a guest that was made aware of, I was made aware of this guest from one of you, a viewer, which is really awesome. And to Chantel D. Haynes. Chantel, thank you for taking time out today. And please tell us what is going on with your mom. You have a change.org, and just fill us all in on what is going on and how people can help.
Absolutely. So I'll kind of give you a little backstory first. So it's kind of long and drawn out. I've been dealing with the California Innocence Project and governors, two separate governors in California for the past 23 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Real quick, what is the California Innocence Project?
So they're a nonprofit that kind of represents people that they feel are innocent. Mm-hmm. And they get them off, they get them out. They either through clemency or habeas corpus appeals. They'll find a way to help someone if they really feel like they're innocent. The problem is that the person that they're representing, he is not innocent. Mm-hmm. And so back in 97, my mother was brutally murdered by her parole officer husband. He heinously killed her. He strangled her, beat her, stabbed her, dragged her across the floor, filled a bathtub full of water, drowned her, and dumped chemicals in the bathtub. He made it look like a hate crime. The problem with that is the fact that my mother was a Native American woman and he was a black man, black parole officer. Now, I had a lot of experiences as a child of witnessing a lot of his domestic violence. And each time that the cops got called out, he never went to jail. And so at a certain point, my mother was trying to get out of the relationship. And unfortunately, he felt like this was the time. It was now or never for him to do what he did. So he killed my mother and tried to make it look like a hate crime. Took about 6 months of diligent work with our lawyer at the time, Mike Ramos, who was the previous district attorney of San Bernardino. And for him to get enough of the evidence together, because as soon as Patrick murdered my mother, he was immediately trying to go for the insurance policy. And it was actually the insurance company that was like, okay, this is a little weird. Like, your wife died in very horrible circumstances. And why are you the only person on her life insurance policy when she has 4 children? And so we're going to do more investigating work, which is ultimately what happened. And he was found guilty. I was in the trial. My brother was also in the trial. A couple of my mother's friends in California were also in the trial. And even during that time, he was trying to place the blame on everybody else. Like everybody else he could possibly fathom, but there is just too much evidence towards him. So he was sent to jail for 2 terms of 15 to 30. So at that point, that's where it should have ended. Like, it should have been like in the movies. It's always the person gets found guilty and they go to prison, the end. With me, that was not the case. It was about 14 years later in 2014 when I just happened to just randomly search his name, and I saw a article pop up about how the California Innocence Project took up his case back in 2007. And so they tried to go with habeas corpus as one of the reasons to let him off, because they felt like they could pin it on his brother for the murder. Unfortunately, it was his sister that was trying to accuse her brother, but she was an unreliable witness. And the other witness that the California Innocence Project had reasons for being upset with Jeff, Patrick's brother. So the judge found them unreliable witnesses. Once I found all that out, I panicked because I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm the victim. Like it's called collateral victim. Like we were also victims because we don't have our mother anymore. You know, like we had to live life and try to navigate and be the best that we could be. But unfortunately, when you lose a mother at such a young age, your path could go anywhere. So now I reached out to the California Innocence Project, and I met with them and I told them, you know, like, how come you guys never reached out to any of the victims' families? We were in the trial. How come you didn't reach out to all the people in the trial? And they told me that they did. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense because I was in the trial. Like, no, like this is crazy. So at the end, you know, they told me about Jeff, and I told them, like, look, we all know Jeff. Like, what they're failing to realize is that they married together. So his family became our family. We actually all knew his family before we met him, Patrick. So even after he went to jail, we still were family. So the California Innocence Project is trying to make it like, you know, oh, they're so bad people. And we're like, no, that's not true. Like, I never felt any ill will towards Jeff ever. Like, I know he was a gangbanger and all that stuff, but no. So they said at the end of our meeting that even if Patrick didn't do it, at this point we've invested too much money into his cause or his story, so we're going to have to kind of ride with it. And it frustrated me because I'm like, are you serious? Like, I'm just one person. I don't have the well-known backing of the California Innocence Project, but here they are telling me this. So I kind of have to just live with it. And the next year, I read that they were trying to do clemency. They sent a clemency letter to the governor, Jerry Brown, at the time. And I sent a letter to him as well. And at that point, I truly believe that because of my letter, I have an open letter on my page too that you can read the letter that I sent him. I feel like that letter was a deciding factor in the governor denying that clemency. So I'm like, it gave me a moment to breathe. I'm like, okay. So now he's going to be there for his minimum sentence of 30 years. Like that's the hope. I'm like, okay, 30 years, we'll deal with this in 30 years. In 2018, I get a notification from California that they passed a new law where if there was a perpetrator who was a lifer that committed a crime at the age of 26, then they will automatically be up for parole at 25 years. And I'm like, this is because why? And they said because he's considered a juvenile. And I was like, well, I believe he was older than 26 years old. Like, this doesn't make any sense. How did he qualify for this? And they're like, well, he did. Sorry, he is. So his parole is going to be 2023, parole hearing. So I'm panicking. I'm like, what? 2023? It's supposed to be 2028. Like, oh my gosh. And, I had to live with it. So, now we're here. COVID-19 came around 2020, March. It's about my birthday. I'm like stuck in the house for my birthday. And I get a phone call from the victim services again. And they're like, hey, we're just letting you know that the governor, Gavin Newsom, has commuted Patrick's sentence. So he's going to be up for parole this year. And I said, what? Like, why? Like, why would he pick his package, like his file, out of everything? I was able to talk to the current DA of California, and he said that he got the packet and he denied it, but the governor, Gavin Newsom, decided to approve it. So I tried to reach out to the governor, and I spoke to his assistant and left a couple of messages. And the assistant pretty much told me, like, At this point, he has the message, so he'll it's up to him now if he wants to get back to you. So I'm like, what is going on? And so as I read these articles that are coming out, and I'm noticing that at least 4 of the California Innocence Project's cases were commuted by this current governor. So I'm frustrated because, this could be a political thing easily. Who knows? I don't want to make assumptions, but for that many cases to be commuted, I feel like there's some kind of ends to that. I just really want to, my goal at this point is to threefold. The first one is to make sure that Patrick remains where he belongs. I honestly, with this climate, it's just, people that are high in law enforcement need to have accountability for their actions, like to do something as heinous as he did and to have nothing but time to find different ways to point the blame on other people and convince the California Innocence Project to take his back, to back him, and for them to just push the narrative and switch the narrative for so long. Like, it's time for them to take accountability too. I found a website, and they say they're affiliates with the California Innocence Project, but it says on there that my mother is a white woman and the hate crime was because he was a black man. I'm like, that's not true. Like, what is going on? And I'm realizing that in this world, a lie can become the truth if it's told enough times. Like, people will believe whoever is making the most noise. And that's why I created the petition, because I need for people to know my mother's story, know my story, and understand that it's so easy for just normal people to kind of get bulldozed over and have to deal with this damage.
This is, I mean, wow. So what is the ethnicity of your mother, to clarify?
She's Native American. She's a Oglala Lakota. She was. This is a picture of her back here in high school. And this is her dress my grandfather made her when she used to do all her powwows. But she was Native American.
And they're twisting the narrative to say that she was a white woman, and that's why.
Yeah.
Wow, that's insane.
Yeah, they misspelled her name and everything. I'm like, come on, guys, can you at least spell her name right?
Wow.
Twisted the narrative.
So, have you had? So what organizations, if any, have you found that have been sympathetic to your side?
Yes. Currently, the Murdered and Missing Indigenous Women and Girls organization, the USA chapter, I'm working with them. I'm also working with the Victims Advocates. It's actually Mike Ramos's nonprofit where he works with people, with victims and victim rights, because this is just ridiculous. I have a couple other justice advocacy nonprofits that I'm starting to work with as well, and I'm about to work with my mother's tribal council as well, just to kind of get people behind me and to let them know, like, this is uncalled for. Like, I don't know if I understand, like, trying to get someone off if they're innocent. There are a lot of innocent people in prison right now. I wholeheartedly believe that. I also believe, like, low crime people who've done low level crimes should be eligible for commuted sentences or clemency, or just to be released. But for the governor to commute at least 22 high level criminals, murder and rape, it's uncalled for. Like, there has to be a change there. Somebody has to say this is not right.
Yeah, I mean, that's this is the problem with our political system is politicians are always looking to co-opt some movement to their own benefit, and the Black Lives Matter protests because of the murder of George Floyd are important, and it's getting all these people waking up. But then it seems, and again, this is just my opinion listening to your story, is that then somebody like Gavin Newsom is just like, oh, well, I'm going to score some political points if I just commute this guy's sentence without looking really into it. And then the Innocence Project, who I'm sure they've done good work and have helped free some people, but they're just missing the ball on this. And like, why can't they say we got this wrong? Especially just the flagrant misinformation of your mother was a white woman when she's not. She's Native American. And the first thing that popped into my mind too, and I'm glad you brought them up, is this, this is a big issue that I've covered before in the show, the murdered and missing Indigenous women, of how, when an Indigenous woman is murdered or goes missing, it's just sort of like, there's not much done about it. And it seems like it's even compounding that crime by now. The man that committed the crime is in jail, and as well he should be. And now
yeah,
that's mystifying to me. I mean,
it's truly crazy. I know that once the commuted sentence got passed down, my mother's friend in California, because I didn't know what to do, honestly. Like I was like kind of defeated, truly, and furious. But my mother's friend from California, whom I didn't know at the time, I was only 12 or 13 when my mother was murdered. It was 2 weeks before my 14th birthday, and this commuted news was only 3 days before my 37th birthday. these are nice birthday gifts. But my mother's friend from California, she found me and she let me know, like, hey, like I was in the trial. I was there to witness Patrick before and after the murder, like his character. And she didn't get reached out to the California Innocence Project until years after me. So it's, they're very interesting. I wanted to know, well, I can't say I have an assumption, but while Patrick was in prison, he got a girlfriend, and the girlfriend was running a Facebook page for him. And from 2015 till about 2018, she was running this page for him. Unfortunately, she passed away, but now the page is gone. So I feel like yet again, the California Innocence Project is trying to cover their tracks, and it's frustrating. Like, it's really, truly frustrating.
Well, okay. So how can people, Chantel, how can people get involved to help bring a voice to what you're going through?
To definitely sign my petition, it's www.change.org/justice for Debra BlackCrow. What I'm doing right now is, with enough signatures, it's to send to Governor Gavin Newsom to help him understand, like, hey, you got to do a little bit more research into these things. And you really should talk to the California Innocence Project, because they led you astray with this case. This definitely is not the one. And also for the California Innocence Project to take accountability. Just be honest. Like, you made a mistake.
Yeah, it's okay. It's so crazy when people or organizations are so afraid to admit they made a mistake, and it actually just compounds it and makes it worse. Yeah, that's insane to me. But I just put in the chat for everybody the change.org/justice for Debra BlackCrow. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and that'll be in the show notes as well. So everybody, this is a way to get involved, and go to this change.org/justice for Debra BlackCrow and help out. So Chantel, anything else you want to leave us with before you go?
Yes. So the parole hearing is September 3rd. And Right now, with our victim services advocate, she said that um, she she can read letters, but also letters from the community saying that they do not want this type of person released back into their communities. He's in California right now. I live in Las Vegas, so right now, if he gets released, he will be in California. So anybody who's in California, I do have a address that you can send your letter to. It will go to the Board of Commissioners, and they will read it, and it will help keep him where he belongs for now.
Okay. And this is all in the change.org page.
Yes.
Okay. Change.org/justice for Debra BlackCrow, everybody. Go there, check it out, and help out. Chantel, thank you so much for taking time. I'm sorry you're having to go through this, but I appreciate that you're, still doing what you can to try to bring justice for your mom.
Thank you.
All right. You have a nice day. Thank you so much.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye. Hey, everybody. Like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell notification button and the subscribe button, even if you've done it before, because they're unsubscribing, many of you, every day. Watch the ads all the way through. If you click skip ad, I don't get paid. Also, support us at patreon.com/Graham Elwood or rockfin.com/Graham Elwood. Rockfin.com is a blockchain cryptocurrency platform. All my videos are on Rockfin ad-free. Thanks for watching.